Dear colleagues and dear students, what a year! Phew! How to even begin to reflect on this one, especially at the brink of a new lockdown. I never imagined at the previous Christmas speech that 2020 would involve seeing so many cat buttholes and even a solitary student in his underwear. A little tip from me, um, switch the camera off before you get out of bed if a teacher gets pissed. Um, just so you know. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Cox, and I'm an applied biology teacher. And for the past 8 years, I've given a Christmas speech in which I reflect and try to inspire you. For those of you who have heard me speak before at Christmas, you might know that I'm quite a fan of Brené Brown, who is a professor who studies courage and vulnerability. So I will use some of her words in this speech. But I will also draw on the beautiful work of Charlie Mackesy to let him illustrate some of my points. Somewhere in Brené Brown's book called Dare to Lead, there's this fancy quote, and underneath in tiny letters it says, "Embrace the suck." If there was ever a summation and an advice for 2020 in one sentence, there it is. Embrace the suck. Because in a way, this year sucks big time. It sucks that we can't have the small acts of physical contact, like a hand on your shoulder or sitting close to someone, to smooth out conversations and interactions, and things that can really light up your day. It sucks that we as teachers can't interact with you as students in real life to see whether the information hits home and to get energized by your reactions to our, well, admittedly sometimes rather weird teacher humor. It sucks to talk into a black void of turned off cameras and closed microphones. It sucks to sit in your house by yourself, listening to a teacher without having classmates around to joke around with and to help you remember deadlines and explain something that you just missed. It really sucks that we can't work out in the gym or go out with friends. And as is illustrated by this painting by Mackesy, there's always two sides to each coin. So for every situation that utterly sucks, there's a world of beauty and grand gestures and small bright specks of joy. Of people singing off balconies in Italy, of the scientific community and probably a shitload of money coming together and working like maniacs to come up with a vaccine based on 35 years of RNA research, of colleagues and students alike who have the courage to be vulnerable, to speak their minds, to have the difficult conversations, to show up every day, who wholeheartedly embrace the suck, as Brené Brown would say. And I am very proud to be a part of that community of students and colleagues. And when I heard the following lines by Theodore Roosevelt, all of you immediately came to mind. Bear in mind, though, that gender neutrality wasn't really a thing back in Theodore Roosevelt's day, so you need to forgive him for that one. And the piece he wrote is called "The Man in the Arena," and would like to tell it to you as well. And it goes like this. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how a strong man stumbled or where a doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows, in the end, the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. So that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. And of course, this is quite a grand way of explaining things, but still, what this year has shown me is that feedback is only really valuable if it is given by people who are there with you in the arena, who prove to you that they also err and come up short, who strive valiantly. And I think that we do that here. That teachers strive valiantly to offer the best education that we can provide in these trying circumstances. And we are in the arena, we are vulnerable. When we teach classes and we are watched by so many eyes, yet we cannot see what the effect of our words is. And students strive valiantly by answering questions and typing them in the chat for everyone to see. Whether you're wrong or you're right, you are vulnerable. You are vulnerable when you do switch on your cameras and look directly at everybody, while you would normally only see the back and the sides of your fellow students' heads. We are vulnerable when we ask feedback from you about the curriculum, or as students when you hand in your work for feedback. And I think we sometimes really underestimate, students and colleagues alike, how much it can hurt when you feel like you worked your ass off and much of what you've achieved is met with critique, even if it is with the best intentions. And at those times, the words of Theodore Roosevelt are especially powerful, I think, to remind us all that all of us are in the arena. All of us have faces marred by dust and sweat and blood, and all of us are there because of great enthusiasm and great devotion to making the world a little bit of a better place. And if we might fail, and we might, and then at least we know we did so daring greatly. And this brings me to the last segment of my speech, my wish for the year 2021. Firstly, I would like the universe to make sure that 2021 does not suck as much as 2020 did, and allow us the freedom to do the things that bring us joy and to return the ability to connect with each other that we so desperately long for. I would also like 2021 to be about stepping into the arena with what Brene Brown calls the assumption of positive intent. It sounds a little bit up on your high horse kind of thing, but I'll explain it. It basically means that you will extend the most generous interpretation to the intentions and the words and the action of others. And it sounds like an easy thing to preach, and really it is an easy thing to preach, but it's not a very easy thing to do, especially at these trying times where science is just another opinion and people think that the government is out to destroy us with chemtrails, brainwash us with 5G radiation, all the while kidnapping small children to abuse in their satanic pedophile network. You might laugh, and really, honestly, that was of course what I was going for, but really looking at someone with which you very much disagree with and still finding it in your heart to maintain an assumption of positive intent might just turn out to be very, very difficult. Which leads me to my final words, beautifully said and illustrated by the great Charlie Mackesy, which is, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" the mole asked. "And kind," said the boy. So that really is my wish for you for this year, that we strive to be kind and to step into the arena time and again, even if we err and we fall and we get up and things like that, and go into the arena with the intent that everybody is there with you and to see the best in them. So that was my wish for 2020. Thank you for your attention and your